Well, good morning. We'll go ahead and start the September meeting of the Central Oklahoma Transportation and Parking Authority Trustees meeting. I'll call the meeting to order, and please note that we have item 8 we are going to strike from the docket, which is receiving our financial reports. They will be back and in perfect condition next month, but they're not there today. So, and then moving on to item number 2 is, I don't have any other items. Item number 3 are citizens to be heard, and I understand that we do have one citizen to be heard on Live.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I don't believe our resident that was indicated he was going to sign up to speak is here yet.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, then, do we have any other citizens to be heard? No. Okay. Well, moving on to item 4 is approval of the minutes of the July 12th COPTA board meeting. Is there a motion to approve? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically.
I would vote yes. I can't get the thing to take my
With Laura
password.
voting. Motion passes. Moving to item 5, which is our consent docket, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 items on our consent docket. So is there any item there that any of the trustees would like to consider individually? If not, is there a motion to approve our consent docket? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item 6 are items for individual consideration. Item A is an amendment number 1 to professional services agreement with Drop Bike Corp. DBA Drop Mobility for the purpose of leasing the Spokies fleet and existing parts inventory to the Drop Bike family of services for operations within the city of Oklahoma City metro area. Jason?
Yes, sir. A few comments on this one. So this amendment number 1 to the agreement with Drop Bike is really just a continuation of a situation that I know the board is familiar with. It's a continuation of our approach to reimagine how the Spokies bike share service is delivered to our residents. And this amendment ties back to really developing the FY25 budget, where we were looking at making some reductions. One of those reductions that we looked at and proposed to the board was more or less entering into agreement with Drop Bike to take over the maintenance, the deployment, basically the operating costs of the Spokies bike share program. Therefore, that's not an expense that the trust realizes moving forward, but at the same time, we're able to keep that Spokies bike share service available, operating functionally as normal for the residents. And so, again, we had talked about this concept through the budget process. As we got to budget adoption, we had a term sheet, and now we're finalizing those terms, if you will, through this amendment number 1. A few of the things that I think the trustees would be particularly interested about is the obligations of Drop, and that is to obviously maintain the bikes, operate the bike share system, but also operate the Spokies bike share program through the useful life of the assets. So the bicycles, just like any other rolling stock we have, they have a useful life. And so it was important to us to make sure that this agreement contemplated keeping that service out there through the useful life of the assets.
Okay, are there any questions or comments about this? Sounds like an efficient way to do this. Okay, if not, is there a motion to approve the amendment? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item B is amendment number 3 to restatement of agreement with Tyler Outdoor Advertising LLC, adding standard language indicating the contract applies to the city and its trusts. Jason?
Yeah, so the Tyler agreement, as we know, in its entirety includes basically specifications or explanation of revenue share. So as we know, our partnership, our agreement with Tyler allows for revenue to be generated from the street furniture assets, and COPPA receives a portion of that net revenue. So I want to be real clear that this particular amendment really deals with more of the expense side, if you will, of the agreement, and specifically the ability to contract with Tyler for the installation of bus shelters. So as a new bus shelter through the MAPS 4 programs in particular is constructed, Tyler Media will be the contractor that will install the shelter structure after the construction company does all the concrete work and connecting sidewalks and so forth. So the reason why we are amending the agreement to add language that the agreement is applicable to the city and its trust, one, it's consistent with many, if not all, of the agreements that the city and the trust enter into. We generally use that language so that trust and city can purchase off each other's contract. This agreement, as we know, has been with us for quite some time and did not have that original language. So by adding that language, then the MAPS office can use this agreement and the specified installation rate of $1,000 per shelter to be able to basically engage Tyler in installing our shelters as they move forward. So that's the main reason that we're bringing the contract. The other thing you'll find is there is an exhibit attached to the agreement now that really specifies the roles and responsibilities, not only in terms of like providing labor for maintenance and stuff, but also the cost of shelter repairs. You know, we had that in the agreement in the words, but we wanted to make it real clear, especially as we're adding an additional variable, if you will, with MAPS 4 bus shelters. We wanted to be real clear, you know, based on the category of asset, who was responsible for removing the trash, who is responsible for, maintaining the shelter if it needs repair or the grass needs mowed around it, and then finally adding MAPS 4 shelters into that mix. So we added that exhibit for clarity.
Are there any questions or comments about this item? I know we will see in the Finance Committee later this month that there's also going to be a breakdown of the expenses pertaining to these shelters and bus stop.
Yep. We are. I know
the
staff
revenue
is
side of it.
Staff is working on that. Yeah, looking at the revenues, looking at the expenses, and then looking at the value capture, if you will, of the services that Tyler provides in maintaining the shelters. Looking at it from the lens of, well, you know, but for Tyler performing these services, there would be an expense to COPPA. So we're really trying to paint a really big, comprehensive picture of how the agreement works. And that Finance Committee, we're actually shooting for September 27th at 1 p.m. So I think we've got some invitations out to Finance Committee members. So it is moving along, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, that's great. Any other questions or comments? If not, is there a motion to approve item B? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item C is a resolution authorizing a 3.62% adjustment to the non-represented pay plan for the fiscal year 24-25. Estimated cost of $170 $9,312, retroactive to July 1st, 2024. Jason?
Yes, sir. So this is a pretty standard item in terms of procedure. The board, I'm sure, is very familiar now with the process of looking at pay plan adjustments for non-represented COPPA employees. We, as a board, look at making that adjustments once the city pay plans have been adjusted. So the city approved the 3.62% raise, and we are pay plan adjustment. We're simply passing that along to the non-represented COPPA employees.
Okay. Any questions or comments on this item? Sounds like a pay raise is in order.
Yep.
So is there a motion to adopt? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item D is the assignment and assumption agreement of the 1999 Skywalk Agreement from the Central Oklahoma Transportation and Parking Authority to the city, Oklahoma City Public Properties Authority. Jason?
Yeah, so a little bit of history with this item. As the trust is probably aware, there is a skywalk connecting the Santa Fe parking garage to the hotel, and then there's another connection, right? Another skywalk connection from the hotel to the Cox Convention Center / Prairie Surf Media Studios. COTPA has historically been responsible for the maintenance of the piece of the skywalk connecting the Santa Fe garage, which we previously owned, to the hotel, which made complete sense when we owned the Santa Fe garage. Since selling the Santa Fe garage, that asset really not only brings no value to the trust, but also could potentially create additional expense, maintenance, that is not necessarily benefiting the COTPA parking system, since we no longer own that garage. So as such, we've worked with the city through the OCPPA. They will take over the ownership / responsibility of that skywalk moving forward.
Okay, sounds like a good plan to get rid of the skywalk since we got rid of the parking garage.
Yeah,
So,
I think Corey might miss it a little bit, but
not
we'll get
at all.
over it.
So, okay, is there any questions or comments? If not, is there a motion to approve this? We're ready when you are. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Please vote electronically. Okay. Motion passes. Item E is the approval of the Community Development Block Grant Operating Agreement and accepting the grant award with the City of Oklahoma City for transportation service benefiting low to moderate income residents. Estimated expense of $90,000 with revenue of $105,000, retroactive to July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Jason?
Yeah, so again, this is a pretty typical item that the trust approves or reviews and approves every year. This is our allotment of CDBG funds that are administered by the planning department. These funds come directly to COTPA for us to be able to fund, at least in part, primarily our low-income bus pass program. We have many, many nonprofits throughout the city that rely on that low-income, basically free bus pass program to be able to provide those passes to their various consumers. So certainly want to recognize the partnership with the planning department. They've continued to fund this program at this level for basically a flat level for many years, but we certainly appreciate their partnership. I do want to mention to the board And because I know that we've had discussions with individual board members, because you get questions, and that is that our demand for this program is outpacing the amount of passes that we have. And so just in full disclosure, we have received some concerns / complaints from our nonprofits because there's simply more demand than passes to go around. So we've tried to manage that through a process of not giving as many passes to try to include more nonprofits, and it's just a balance that Marilyn and her team through our mobility management programs really are very successful at. So anyway, with approval of this item, we will continue to administer that program and partner with our nonprofits in the community.
Okay, are there any questions or comments on this item? James?
Hi. I've already spoken with ACM Bearbrush about what I'm going to say, but yeah, so of course it's just a phrase I've used with Embark for a long time, squeezing the last blood from the last turnip, right? In terms of how we, as my mother said when she was budgeting when we were growing up, robbing Peter to pay Paul. So I understand that there is this, HUD funding and those parameters that we're working within. At the same time, whether it's City Care or it's CSU in Ward 2, I'm hearing from service providers that when it comes to homelessness, this reduction in the number of passes we're able to share with them has real world consequences, and I'll just walk you through Ward 2's consequences. So what I'm learning as CSU has moved into a new building in Ward 2, beautiful building with the number of beds you need and just all kinds of access to community support services. But with the reduction of the bus passes, those youth age 15 to 24 once upon a time used the passes to go to the jobs or to school or wherever they might go. Without those passes, for as many of them, they stay behind there at 30th and Penn. And I don't know if you all remember the film Rebel Without a Cause or your teenage years or your early 20s, but we don't always make the most thoughtful, responsible, respectful decisions during that age. Heck, some of us in our 40s don't. And what my office, the Ward 2 office, is experiencing is, on the one hand, the neighborhood president of Shepherd, just to the south, telling us she understands and respects the progress we're making with Key to Home. She sees it, she understands housing first. So too do the majority of the neighbors in Shepherd. At the same time, whether it's Shepherd or Sequoia, they are seeing in our offices, hearing about these teenagers without that supervision, without those bus passes to get them to other places, causing some havoc, right? And part of it, it's not that there's anything inherently flawed with those kids. What's happening is the CSU is kind of the victim of its own success, I'm learning, wherein they are seeing as many as 60 unhoused youth walking through CSU's door daily. And where once upon a time, CSU had enough case managers in a ratio way to truly provide that support system in an individualized manner, that's no longer the case when you have 60 and you don't have enough of those case managers. So, that support system that the case manager provides becomes harder to do when the demand is more and when you don't have the supply of the bus passes. So I guess what I'm saying is there's a trickle-down consequence of these bus passes not being as plentiful to meet the demand that this homelessness youth shelter is experiencing. And that consequence that trickles down is literally into Sequoia and Shepherd. And for a while, I dismissed those concerns because I so often just hear people just not liking poverty, not want to do anything about it, but just not liking poor people. But it turns out I am hearing from CSU themselves, from the case managers themselves, this concern. And so I bring this to the trust. I understand, again, the parameters that have led to the reduction in funding and also the rise in need from other service providers as we're trying to spread out the best that we can. I am telling you, though, that CSU, and I'm hearing similar things about City Care, and I'm guessing the other homelessness nonprofits could tell a similar story. There are tangible, lived consequences when we reduce this stuff. So I would challenge us to try and find a way to help meet this demand, because it's there whether we like it or not. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable to even talk about it, but it's real.
Thank you. I will interject a little history. A few years ago, citizens came to us and asked us to expand a program for our school-age kids called Hall Pass, I believe, and we have funded that over and above I guess, a income stream that we have here. And so maybe we could take a look at increasing the amount of budget. The expense to put additional riders on our buses is fairly minimal, and maybe it's something that we could look at in the future and add some more support to the program.
I really appreciate that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Is there something else you're going to say?
Yeah.
One more thing that I almost forgot, and I think this is very important. I literally almost forgot this. So in some ways, it's not the kids at CSU who are causing the trouble. It's other youth coming to the area around CSU because they see the youth there outside. They go to them. So you have these youth from outside of CSU who have not been receiving the mental health, substance abuse, addiction services that stabilize their lives, and they're interacting with these very vulnerable youth. And when you're in a vulnerable place, it's easier to slide back into past behaviors. That's what's happening. So CSU's doing wonderful work, that stabilizing work is there, but when you have this external factor, as the kids say, out in dim streets, right, then that is what they're up against in that way. So I'm glad to hear that we're thinking about ways to intervene there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or? Okay, then is there a motion to approve item E? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item F is a consent of owner form with the National Railroad Passenger Corporation, Amtrak, to approve the American with Disabilities Act improvements to the Santa Fe Depot located at 100 North E.K. Gaylord Boulevard in Oklahoma City. Jason?
Yeah, so this agreement here is really allowing Amtrak, as we know, operates the Heartland Flyer, serves the Santa Fe Depot each morning, each evening, to make some improvements to bring some of the infrastructure within and about the station in compliance with ADA. We have worked with Public Works. Amtrak has worked with Public Works to make sure the proposed improvements are acceptable and fit within the city's requirements, especially the fact that it's a historic building. But all I said to say is this agreement, once approved by COTPN and also approved by the city, would allow Amtrak specifically to make some improvements to the sidewalk to get the slope requirements correct. They're going to install some signage, install the automatic ADA doors And so really just an idea of upgrading the station for Amtrak passengers. No cost to COTPA on this item.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, is there a motion to approve item F? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Okay, item passes. Item G and H are both potential executive session items, and we would like to go ahead and receive a motion to go ahead and go out of order and
Mr. Chairperson, I apologize. I would recommend after review that we just motion to go into executive session, but just wait to go into executive session after all the other agenda items have been heard.
Okay. Then is there a motion to move item G and H to go out of order and move them after we consider other agenda items?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Say
Aye.
aye. Okay, motion passes. So we are going to go on to ratification of claims and payroll. Item A is ratification of claims and payroll for the period of July 1st through July 30th, 2024. Is there a motion to ratify? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item B is ratification of payroll and claims, vendor claims for the period of August 1st through August 27th, 2024. Is there a motion to ratify? It has been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Okay, motion passes. And then is there a motion to receive our program reports? We're going to come back to the presentations in a little while, so. But we are waiting to have a motion. Oh, for
Just you and me are waiting.
item 9, which is to receive our program reports.
Yeah.
We're stuck on ratification. Okay. Okay. Now, is there a motion to receive our program reports? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Okay, motion passes. We are now going to go into executive session, and then we will come back and hear our program reports after that. So. Okay, so we're coming out of executive session. And at this time, I'd like to go ahead and call on the Live Free people who are going to make a short presentation to us. You know, step forward to the microphone. Thank you.
Good morning. Sorry we're late. We went to the Embark office over there. My name is JB Williams. I am the Executive Director of Live Free OKC. We're at 1740 Northeast 23rd Street. And we are a community-based violence intervention program. And I want to give just a brief kind of overview of what our program is and what we do, because a lot of times when you say community violence intervention, people think of a bunch of different things. But, and this is our operations, Chief of Operations, Jess Eddy as well. He and I co-founded Live Free OKC together. But, so what we do is we work with high-risk individuals. When we say high risk, we mean people in our community who are at the highest risk of being involved in gun violence, meaning they either have a gun charge, have had one, they are at risk of being shot at, or have shot somebody. And so the work we do is, of course, intervention. We work on stopping retaliations. We work on mediating issues between different groups. I'm sure that people have seen and watched the news and seen some of the things that have been going on. But a lot of those people that we've been seeing and those families are clients of ours and who we've been helping, and we've also been involved in intervening in some of the retaliations that could have happened as a result of some of the stuff that we've already seen. And we wanted to just come and kind of present and talk about what we do, because I feel like there is an opportunity to collaborate with this model that we have. One of the key components is collaboration, and one of the ways for us to be successful in what we do is to collaborate with different groups. And so we have about 40 clients right now, participants in our program. And so how they become a participant is once we intervene in a situation. So say if someone, let's just say, for instance, someone gets shot, right? And we might, we find out who it was, what happened, and then let's say the person who got shot, their sister says, well, I overheard my sons and brothers talking about retaliation, and so we will get with those family members to make sure they don't retaliate. And then at that point, they have the option, once they've agreed to be peaceful and not retaliate, then they have the option to be a part of our program. And once they're in our program, we help them with resources, with wraparound services and the things that they need, because we have learned in this work, the people that are involved in, that cycle of violence, people who are involved in those situations, most of the time it's because they have unmet needs that have gone unmet and untreated for generations. And so we try to meet those needs, whether it be helping them get enrolled in school, whether it be counseling, therapy, education, transportation. We had a family who had a shooting in their house, and they needed a new air conditioner. So we got their air condition fixed. So just helping to meet those needs. And one of the needs that we've been seeing is like I said, transportation. And so we have 3 peacemakers, our intervention workers, we call them peacemakers, and 2 part-time peacemakers. So 3 are full-time and 2 are part-time. But all of our clients are, we work primarily on the east side, Ward 7, and most of our clients are on the east side, all of our clients on the east side, but, they might they might need school over here. They might need to get to services and our resource partners in a different part of town, and they may need to get to a job interview and things like that. And our peacemakers, our intervention workers are using their own cars, using their own gas money, driving these guys around all day and all night, making sure they get home, making sure they get to work on time, making sure they get home to their kids, making sure they get to the store to buy things they need, making sure they get to classes that they have to take. And so I wanted to just kind of talk about that program and kind of share it with you guys what we do, because you know, I think there is some room for collaboration, you know, with bus passes and things like that. We had a guy in our office just last week who you know, thought that somebody told him that we could help him with the bus pass, but we just end up, you know, calling him an Uber. We spent, you know, hundreds and thousands of dollars probably just on getting guys Ubers too. So you know, I don't know what that collaboration looks like. I don't know how you guys handle, you know, things like that, but I felt that the need is big enough to where, you know, we should come in and present it and tell you guys about the program and what we do. Did you want to share anything, Jess? So that's all.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
Yes. Thank you so much for your presentation. Councilmember Cooper wanted me to mention that he had to go teach, so that's why he left early. But he also asked me to share a statistic for a similar program that's going on in Newark, New Jersey, where this effort was concentrated. There was a 50% reduction in homicide rates in the South Ward. So I speak for both of us that I hope that we can find a way to collaborate in partnership with you for this much needed and very appreciated work that you guys are doing.
Thank you. And I will say that before we even launched, we went to New York and you know, got to go through trainings and workshops and boot camps with those guys. We've been to the trainings and boot camps in Chicago, just so that we just didn't, you know, out the gate start a program that we had no idea on how to do it, but we went and learned how to do it. And I will say, just to kind of give an example of how much we're doing, the situation that happened on 23rd and Lottie a week or so ago, we're working on getting those parents together right now to speak and resolve that conflict, because that's a conflict that's generational, you know. So, and you know, once we get those, the thing is, once we get to that point, we got to be able to have ways to help them, and transportation will be a big part of it. So.
Okay, and so your nonprofit would be able to apply for the block grant money that Marilyn administers through her agency, and so we hope that there's some money there for you as part of that.
Yes, sir.
So,
Thank you.
appreciate you coming.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to our program reports. This month we have a presentation on the marketing and community engagement.
Hi, good morning. Wanted to give an update to you guys on the work that we've done over the last quarter for marketing and community outreach. And I'll start with the results from our FY25 half-price bulk pass sales. So this is a dashboard that you see on your screen. This year, we did a few different things differently, where we extended the time period over 3 weeks to allow community partners time to get purchase orders processed, to get payments in. So giving them some additional runway, as we would say, to grow that program. So we had an increase in the number of partners that participated. So we grew from 35 to 57. We overall just under 51,000 passes were purchased for a revenue of $196,000. And this graph that you see is compared over the same time period or sale period over the last 2 fiscal years. So 84% growth in this July. And on the screen is just a breakdown of how those passes were purchased. So the majority of passes being purchased are day passes, but we have seen steady increase in the monthly passes and weekly. So I'd like to thank the team. This was a combined effort of marketing, Customer service and finance department also do a heavy lift on fulfilling these orders, so I'd like to thank the work that they have done here. In our community engagement efforts, we have continued to do outreach in a few of our wards this last quarter. So Ward 7, Jason and I actually went out with Councilwoman Nice and some community stakeholders to actually ride our fixed route system and connect to our BRT to kind of give them a preview of what's to come with the MAPS 4 BRT expansion in Northeast Oklahoma City. And we also attended the popular Skate the Plaza event where we promoted BRT and then general embark services. And I'm really sorry that Mr. Cooper left, but we attended the OCU Back to School event to promote information on the 23 route and then also BRT to new incoming students, but also the high population of international students that often don't have transportation. So we were able to make some good inroads there. And then I had the privilege of presenting at the Southwest Transit Authority Conference in July to share some of our successes with Climb Ride program, also our improvements to the rider experience through our bus shelter improvement with MAPS 4. So I was able to share that information with leaders throughout transit agencies throughout the region. And I just wanted to give an update here on final statistics from the 250,000 rider celebration that we had in July. So during our last presentation, you guys, we updated the board, and we had at that time $20,000 in earned media. But on the screen here, you'll see an article from the Oklahoman that actually bumped our earned media up to $70,000. That was something that was done in print, also online, and continued to be promoted for an additional about 10 days after the event. So we got a lot of coverage with that story and very positive comments on that. So just wanted to kind of close the loop there so you could get the full view there. A new partnership that we did this summer to promote river cruises along with the streetcar ridership was a partnership with the Oklahoma City Baseball Club. So during 5 games this season, we have been activating, having a tabling presence there, promoting streetcar and the river cruise. And then you'll see a mock-up of an ad that we run during the game. So it runs kind of every 2 innings. An ad will rotate between streetcar and then also the river cruises. So we've been promoting cocktail cruises along with our regular ferry service. And then we have seen an uptick in ridership on the streetcar this summer. So this has been valuable to both river and to streetcar. Oh, can I go back? Sorry. I wanted to call out a new opportunity that came our way in July. So this was a partnership with U.S. Rowing for the RowFest event that was here for about 10 days in mid-July. We partnered with U.S. Rowing, the River Sport leadership, and also Visit OKC to provide express bus service to participants and to attendees of this 10-day event. And then we also included, through our partnership, access for participants to ride the streetcar. So we had really good uptick in ridership on the streetcar for this event. What we've learned is that participants like to get a walk-in before going to their event and participating. So they would often ride to the ballpark stop and then walk the canal to the event center. So we didn't see the success that we were looking for on the express bus, but we saw an increase of 145 riders per day on average on streetcar. And then from an advertising standpoint, we are continuing to promote our third Friday free. That ends this month on September, I believe, the 20th. And I wanted to note a success story with the River Ferry. We have seen an increase of over 120 riders on the June and July Fridays that we've had third Friday free. So very positive for River Ferry. And just in closing, I wanted to share that we're working on a campaign to promote ridership to Thunder events. You'll see promotions on Rapid, streetcar, and also our event parking. Working to finalize our customer satisfaction survey results that we partnered with ETC, so we'll be bringing that to the trust in the coming months. We have renewed our partnership with Downtown in December, so we'll be providing free streetcar rides again this December and working to do some additional activations around that. And then I just wanted to close with staffing updates. I'm proud to announce that I have a full staff now. Tiffany Aguilar has joined us as our business development specialist, and she comes from a marketing background with Ideal Homes. And then Greg Singleton has joined us as our community community relations specialist, and he's joined us transferring from the city's public information office. So both of them are on staff now, and look forward to introducing them to you at our next update, but they are busy already in the field with a event today. So thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Our second program report is our safety, security, and training report. Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good.
So we're just going to go over SMS, review of that. So the roles and responsibilities of the COPTA board: promote safety as a core value, help reinforce our culture, which includes a focus on safety. One of our core values is be safe. Support the accountable executive to ensure resources are allocated to a strong safety management system, and review and approve our safety plan as required by the regulation 673. This is for both bus and streetcar. I do have an update on that at the end. So everyone should be familiar with this. These are the 4 pillars of our SMS, safety management system: safety management policy, safety risk management, safety assurance, and safety promotion. These are the elements within each of the pillars. We're not going to go through all of them. You can see configuration management is highlighted there, so we're going to go over how we use configuration management within our Embark system. So this is one of our Plus vans that we use on the Plus side. The picture on the left has, you can see there's 2 seats in there. In the middle section is where a passenger in a wheelchair would go. So this came in a recommendation from one of our bus operators that it's hard to get around the wheelchair to secure them. So they came up with the suggestion if we move one of the seats. So over on the right-hand side, you can see we removed one of the seats. This was another one. So this is a BRT stop. So these are the TVMs. So this came from Corey's team. So the picture on the left is the design where the TVM is facing the street. This particular stop, for whatever reason, it was getting a lot of splash water. I don't know if it was like dirty water that was going up, and it was interfering with the operation of the TVM. So Corey came up with a proposal to move it so it's kind of facing away from the street, which you see on the picture on the right. And then we relined our parking lot. So we put in a new fence, and when we did that, we added parking bumpers, which moved the cars along the, over on the left there is May. So it moved them away from the fence more so they wouldn't hit the fence. So there was about 5 or 6 spots there. You can see where the arrow is pointing to. It didn't give them enough room to back out. So it came in from complaints from employees. So what we did, you can see on the right-hand side, we eliminated 2 spots to allow vehicles to be able to pull out easier. And then finally for this, our preliminary design for the remodel for South May, as with the other ones, will be run through our Safety, Security, and Operations Committee, and also our Safety Executive Committee. So coming soon, so here's our update. So ODOT did hire an SSO, so it's great for ODOT, not so good for Maryland, because it's Stephanie Davis from Maryland's department, so Maryland is losing an employee. ODOT is getting Stephanie Davis. I believe their RFP for their consultant closed last Friday, so hopefully they'll be getting their consultant lined up. And we do have a meeting lined up with them on Monday, the 16th, so good news there. And then lastly, camera tower. So with our 1% security money, we were able to buy a camera tower. So this is going to be housed at the end of the line for the BRT, the park and ride that's up there. As you can see, it's mobile, so if we needed to move it to the transit center or if the police department needed to borrow it, it's definitely mobile. Any questions?
Are there any questions?
All right, thank you.
Very good report, thank you. Okay, moving on to item 10, which is comments from our trustees. Anything? Okay, if not, we appreciate you coming today and we are adjourned. Thank you.